Good morning. Always nice to see you join us for 3+U. Hope your day is off to a very good start, and that, as always, you wake up proud to call the Tennessee Valley home. We certainly are proud to highlight the things that there are to do and enjoy around here. We very much are a community, and the community is how we're going to kick off the show this morning, because Mark Hite is on the show with us today. He, of course, is with the Mark Hite team, and if you've ever gone anywhere in town, pretty much, to an event, whether it is a Chambliss Center for Children event, whether it is something going on at the Chattanooga Market, whether it is Go Red for Women, somewhere on there, Mark Hite's name is going to be. So good to see you.
Good to see you this morning.
You told me that the real estate market is kind of shifting right now.
You know, it is, Julie. Everything goes up and down in time, and right now what we see is we're still seeing a very hectic market where buyers, are scrambling to buy, but we've seen actually a decline in sales to last year. Year to date, the market's running down 1.5%. Not a whole lot, but we're beginning to see some return to maybe normalcy. This crazy appreciation in pricing is starting to flatten out. And what's really good for home buyers is we've had a 90% increase in available active inventory in the last 90 days.
I think that's good for everybody, because I know if you're a seller, it would be easy to think, oh, well, I want to sell my house really quickly. But a lot of people, like you talked about last time, got their backs up against the wall because their house would sell so quickly, then they had nowhere to go. You stepped in on that one too.
100%. I mean, I just closed on a new personal home Friday.
Really?
My condo sold the first day. And but there was a new construction product that was going to be finished in a reasonable amount of time. So we're starting to see, if you've been holding off on selling because there was nothing to buy, we actually have some inventory now. Okay.
When all this began to happen in these COVID days, part of what I think the storyline was that people all of a sudden could choose where they wanted to live. So they were coming here for obvious reasons, but often if you were coming from California or New York, you had cash money to play around with.
100%. And local buyers were missing out because you had out-of-state people coming in with cash that saw us as a great value. And we are still a good value in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Tennessee has no state income tax. So it's very attractive to move here. But what it meant was local folks were missing out on homes because these out-of-state folks were coming in and paying whatever price.
Okay, it also meant that local realtors were under the gun, because there are only so many of you, and you know the territory, and you know the people, because they're really your neighbors. So when folks are looking, whether you're new to town or you've lived here for a long time, for a real estate agent, you got to be careful to make sure you get somebody who is local, right?
100%, just like Local 3 is your local news source. Local really matters in real estate, because I've been on the ground in Tennessee, in Chattanooga, North Georgia for 20 years doing business. Technology makes it very easy to come in from outside and work in the market, but if you're really not here, are you really an expert? Are you really going to have the best interest and knowledge of that person?
I had something, I won't go into it in detail, but I had something happen in my life once, years ago, where I was a part of something, and I had to make a decision because there was a way the situation was going that I felt was against the good of the organization I was a part of, and I had to ultimately listen to my own heart. So I went with loyalty to the organization. Kind of cost me, but that's what I did. In your situation, it's got to make you kind of angry, because your protection mechanism is for the people who you live with.
Right.
Am I right?
These are my neighbors. I'm going to be the person you see at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And so the integrity and the importance of local Chattanooga, it's just like some of these out-of-town realtors or out-of-town entities that are coming in, buying, representing people. The profits are going out of state. They're not staying here and paying taxes and investing in the local community. And we are, as you said a minute ago, we're pretty engaged in local nonprofit work. Investing in what's important right here in Chattanooga.
Well, because the internet is a good thing and a bad thing, and any dinner party out there will have hours-long conversations about that very fact. But it's easy to not realize that somebody is not really in your own backyard.
Right, because you can purchase a media presence, you can appear to be here. You know, you can buy ads, you can have billboards, and it looks like you're here, but the reality is you're not here on the ground, and you're not investing in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, so within the Mark Hite team concept, because it really is kind of a concept that you've grown as life has changed.
Yes.
It's again knowing that community. You've got all different facets of the home buying and home selling experience under one roof.
Absolutely. I believe everyone deserves individual representation. You need an advocate, Julie. And so whether you're buying or you're selling, I have a dedicated team member that comes to the house, meets with you here, in person. If you're calling on my guaranteed cash offer, it's going to be me showing up at the door.
Right.
And I do this every day. I'll be on IGO Gap here in a couple of hours, looking at a family that need to buy. And so my guaranteed cash offer is an option for them. And it's not some entity in a cube making decisions about what your home is worth. It's me on the ground. And I'm the one that looks at the house.
Right.
And does the inspection and give you that as-is offer right there. I'm not going to come back and beat you up in 7 days saying, oh, we found these problems.
You also don't specialize in one area of Chattanooga. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, but you are all over the place.
We're actually licensed in 3 states. So we service Chattanooga, we talk about, Tennessee, but we also service North Georgia, and I have agents licensed in Alabama, because it's real easy to get right down the road to Alabama. There's folks watching us right now. Some
of my favorite interviews that we've done over the years were when you would come and, like, you'd have a theme of if you want to live on the water, for example, and you would show these different houses, but at different price points, so that if somebody comes to you and they just have their own concept, I think I want this.
Yes.
You know how to ask the questions, kind of help them find what's the most important parts, but you know the territory.
We did I did a phone consultation, a referral from a past client yesterday, a young couple moving here from Pittsburgh. And we just went through what's most important. Well, they're going to have school-age children, so we need to engage in schools. A commute was a real challenge for them because they're both going to be working parents. And childcare, what's available in each of these neighborhoods. Those are things you only get when you're here on the ground every day.
And you know what? I hadn't really thought about that part of it, but especially if you are new to the area, that's where you desperately need the local realtor, because you could end up in a place that's not at all what you had in mind.
Because looking online doesn't tell you it's on a busy 2-lane highway where your kids are never going to be able to ride their bikes.
Or 10 miles from the nearest grocery store.
Exactly. And so that's why this couple, it was a referral from an uncle who's here. He's getting a job with TVA. I mean, they're ideal coming to town. Since
the housing market is slowing a little bit, you can breathe a little if you're a buyer. Are you still seeing people make offers online, sight unseen?
Julie, that is a great point, and it's begun to decline.
That's probably good.
It actually is. What we have seen with these virtual online showings have a very high cancellation rate. Like they'll go under contract, but when they actually do the home inspection and get here to see it, they didn't realize that it was on a busy road, or that it was 10 miles from the nearest grocery store.
Or the room looked smaller in person.
Oh, yes. All those kinds of things. So we see a very high cancellation rate, and that has really ramped up over the last 90 days as well. Okay,
we've talked about the buyer side. Before I let you run, on the seller side, if you're thinking, oh, gee, I missed my chance. No, it's still a good market?
No. What has taken place, it's a great question, is where we would just put it on the market and it would bring whatever, that has changed completely. What you see now is in the first few days, the market tells you very quickly if you are priced incorrectly, but a well-priced house, and here again, it doesn't matter what the internet says, you've got to get in there and see what are the countertops like, what are the bathrooms like, what's been done or not done to the house. I was in a home yesterday in Hampton Creek. Zillow said it was worth $660,000. Well, it had a good bit of deferred maintenance, and as I sat with the elderly consumer and his daughter, who was here to advise, it's about a $450,000 house. But she helped Dad understand. It's like, Dad, the air doesn't work upstairs. We've got rotten steps. All of these things. The oven doesn't work. So that's why, it's still a good time to be a seller, but you really need a local expert who'll be honest and transparent.
So here's where you find them. It's the Mark Hite team. They're right down on the south side in downtown Chattanooga. MarkHiteHomes.com is your website, but the local number, 265-0088. Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
Set, 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 set,